Okay, so it's recording. We're having this. What's up?
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Not much going good.
Well,
I'm just on Roblox right now. How are you going?
you're doing good. So, I mean, actually, I'm already recording because I was like, waiting for you guys. So, I start now. Do you want do it later? You know.
I can start now.
Wait, actually, before you start, I just wanted to say, Ordinary Man, I swear to God, you make us laugh so much.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
You know.
I mean, in a bad way, but
Yeah,
you're just really funny. You're just
You know,
such a good comedian.
They actually call me like master of rage baiting. Literally, the master.
I was rage bait.
I find someone.
Rage bait.
I find someone. I grab them and I tell them, "This is the truth. This is literally like you have to accept. I'm so sorry."
Like two people, this Osmar guy, and then who's the other guy before?
Joseph guy.
Joseph, yeah, him.
Should I actually go and show those like chats on the video? Because I'm recording right now. I'm like, should I actually go and show them?
Oh, it's up to you.
Alright, I'm gonna go.
I just thought it was funny because the Omar guy, whatever his name was, he asked like, "Oh, what's economic growth?" He said, "What is the economic growth?"
And the guy, no, it doesn't mean that.
Growth of the
The guy's like,
economy.
no, it doesn't mean that. He's like, no, it's like, what the f*** do you want me to say? Growth, GDP, communists, don't even accept that. So, how would I have to tell them, the growth of the economic the economic well-being of the people. I don't care, it's like, I'm like, bro, like, I'm angry, but I'm like, I'm confused. What, I have to go explain it to this guy. It's like, yeah, this is a very, very dumb world. Like probably half of the world is just like, under freaking 60 IQ or something. Like
They think GDP is a bad thing. They say no, that's you shouldn't measure GDP is not meant to measure well-being.
No, it's the growth of the products, right? The products you're uploading, and
Yeah, it is. Exactly. That's a measure of how powerful your economy is.
yeah, it is.
It's a measure of power mostly.
Yeah, it's so funny because like he's showing us like the Karl Marx books he's reading. Like, he has no idea how the word actually works. I'm like, I give him credit because I don't read any books, right? I give him credit for reading the books because I don't read any of the books, but he's still like so
That was
clueless.
I'll give you credit
I laughed so hard.
I give you credit you read books, but you don't know. Oh my god, so many funny one-liners.
I wish I could do that.
I was actually gonna read his books because someone told me, my friend told me that, the problem is everyone's talking about Marx, what he says, but no one really reads his. I'm saying the crap that 99% of the people on the internet say. And I saw do you read the book either? And he says, I read a tiny bit, enough to tell you that you're doing the shit that he's saying stuff like around 99% of the people. But I mean, the guy hasn't read much either. I mean, like my friend or chatting, like the other friend, right? I mean, yeah, like my friend, for example, like, should I actually go through and read the book? And like, I want to see what he says. I've seen some quotes, and I give me some quotes, like, very interesting. Basically saying all this stuff, but like, yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's like, I mean, yeah. I mean, my friend hasn't read much either, but he's read enough to tell me I'm saying shit like most people on the internet, and I'm like, okay, I see. Like, I don't tell him he's wrong, and thank you for telling me, Then just listen to what he says, okay, I mean, there's some things that like both got wrong, I guess, but it's like, I mean, anyways, I'm literally scrolling through the whole chat, like, messages just already seen.
Oh god. feel bad for you, the ordinary man, because like that Joseph guy, he was just like having a go at you, having a go at
He wasn't a
everyone. I
big
don't know what was
deal, bro.
wrong.
Yeah, he's a bit of a
No, he's
a bit
cool.
of an
Honestly,
asshole.
no, he's cool. Like honestly, I think it was like what I was saying with my friend. I think that was a lot more of a more of like an impactful thing, more of like a fight than like
He seems very mean-spirited.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's right.
like, I'm literally gonna scroll over my conversation I had with like with my friend because
He's
I
40 years old.
yeah.
He's 40 years old.
Saying this
Stop
to a 17-year-old.
Oh my god.
Oh my, okay. Is he like married and there's freaking 5 children? It's like, okay, we just got Karl Marx book, but I'm gonna. I don't even care about the news, or I don't care about what is going on outside.
You know what's funny as well when you said, "Okay, I'm going to give you warning next time. Next 3 times I report you to the Tajik." That was funny. That was so funny.
Yeah, when I was actually paying the owner of the set, but I'm like, I don't know if he was gonna ban me again. I'm like, you know. I'm not scrolling like with the freaking Mark shit I had with my friend. Because you know, I actually had like a family in Romania, right? And his parents were grandparents, right? And they're basically like, I told them, I actually thought that like, you know, they didn't have any kind of like, they didn't have any kind of like a co-op, like in the like companies. But he actually did, and he told me that like, oh, I'm sorry, because he thought I was being an idiot. I'm like, oh, sorry, because they had that in like that in the state as well. It wasn't just like the price coming. But it was implemented very differently. But he says it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does like matter. The government was like implementing it, but like you know, it wasn't like the people, whoever like the or whatever. Government's been like to go, you know, crazy, you know, like in like that state, right? But still, it's like the government doesn't like makes the actual plan for it, and he was saying in America the government also makes the economic plan. But like it's different. I was just talking to so much with him, like yeah, I was chatting in the morning and I wasn't like paying attention. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go down. And that was a mistake because I just woke up in the morning. I couldn't talk with or like I couldn't talk or like articulate my like points properly because I was getting straight first thing in the morning. I'm like, I was really slow in the morning, and that was the mistake. The mistake I made when I went to chat with this guy. It's what it is, and like, yeah, and that's what all I have to say. To be honest, it goes to Marx. You know, whole deal I had. You know, first of all, I don't agree with Marx. You know, his idea was like the process, kind of like like predictions, right? For like any actual benefits, right? And that's why I don't support Marx. Even in the state, we didn't have to really see how it would work. So that's why we support Marx. The original Marx is only like that, you know. Yeah, so I don't agree with communism. I think it's horrible. It doesn't work in reality. Even pure Marx could really work. So like, you know, I'm a capitalist. I support capitalism. You know, people who actually do the shit themselves. You know, people, there's like creativity. You know, there's actual, you guys know. And that's honest.
Yeah. It's funny because he's saying all these things that worked in the USSR, but why did it work? It didn't work because it's the socialist way of doing it. But everything that worked in the USSR worked because they were copying the West.
Yeah, absolutely. And even like Yugoslavia, there's a communist country before that actually implemented capitalism, right? And that's why they're actually doing okay compared to the other, right? Using a push of a free market. Even in China, I think since the 80s, like basically they've become capitalists, right? Like even I think half of the companies are still like government owned, so that is like half socialist kind of way. But like a lot of half is like private companies. Whether it's more domestic, those private companies, whether they're from America or China, they're still all kind of abide by the kind of, CCP kind of like, and compliance, right?
Yeah.
Go be an informer for them, right? But even though it's a capitalist in China right now, the government is still making the actual, because the actual stock market in China, it isn't really about like the actual, it isn't really about like the actual economic growth of the stock, more of the stock following the agenda that the government is putting in place for it. Because the government over there, even though it's market is half, how I say, capitalist, right? They are still government is still having kind of like 5-year plans, 10-year plans for the economy, and where you want to direct it at. That's the actual stock is following that, not really on like not on like growth of the GDP. I mean, like not only that, like, not really growth in the actual revenue, right? So that's why the Western is when they want to watch the actual Chinese stock market, they get confused. Why does it go back, up and down, like why like some they're not really making profit, like it's not really more following the agenda of the state, right? Not really on pure revenue, right? Like websites, all of these kind of so people. You should become like all of these like news, like videos, all of these like kind of like professor, right? And
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you wanna bring up? Anything else weird? Anything pretty?
Oh, you're recording.
Indeed, I am.
Oh crap! Oh, hang on, we gotta do the intro. Hey guys, welcome to the Ordinary Man podcast. I'm not Ordinary Man. I'm just a guest. Ordinary Man, say hi.
Hey guys, what's up?
And that's Ordinary Man.
It's me. Yeah, man. I think I had 4 episodes before like this one. I think they were all by myself. I think it was 3 out of 2. I don't know, but it was all by myself. It was cool. I think it's based. And yeah, I mean. Like,
what was it based on?
Based on multiple things. For me, I'm actually gonna go look back on it. Like, let's have a look.
What is it based on?
Them was based on cars, I think. Electric cars. I was reading on people talking about the entire history of electric cars.
Oh god, I hate electric cars so much.
I don't really hate them. Like, I don't have anything against them. It's just
Same.
Like, oh wow, I'm not even logged into
We have against them, Julian.
They blow up.
Chinese blow up. I don't
Well, that's
Just-
huge.
Yeah, that's true.
there is my okay. I mean,
Chinese.
okay. Second episode was the full reading of an analysis of the poet by like Plato. Second one was my own theory.
They continue that.
Theory of like freaking I'll take peoples, an electric car, history and linguistic groups. Okay, so there was Actually, I'll go with you guys. But yeah, I mean like, because do you guys know? I believe that the I'll take theory is real. Like, it isn't just because of like influence, kind of like kind of like intermarrying or anything, or that like basically like basically talking among groups. It isn't because of those things that all groups are similar. I think also because the language cultures are similar because they can even because they share kind of like a common ancestor, from time mountains, right? It's like, did you know Turks and Mongols used to like both practice the exact same religion, and also Proto-Turks and Proto-Mongols, they actually come from the exact same region in the Altai Mountains, and basically, and they kind of like went and diverged. So they both share a common ancestor, right? I think that the Mongols still practice Tengriism, right? But it is like, yeah, and I would like to say that people are kind of like in the Altai group, like, also you also got Manchurians, like, I think like some other people, right? I think also Koreans and Japanese are good as well, because I think Koreans are descendant of like Mongols and Manchurians and Siberian peoples, right? And the Japanese are descendant of Koreans, right? So I guess these people in this like one ethno-linguistic group, like how you would with like Indo-Europeans, right? And yeah, that's what I have to say about that. I actually made an entire podcast on that.
Wait, but the most important question, do you think Hyperborea is real? And this is a very important
What is
question.
that? First of all, what is that?
I mean, what is Hyperborea? You gotta explain it.
It was a it's basically the North Pole. It's the original place where the Indo-Europeans came from. Around the Baltic area.
Stop. We came up the Crimean steps.
No, but before that. Okay.
This is very.
The Yamnaya were in the Crimean steppes.
Yeah.
But, there's actually reason to believe that the corded ware culture. The theory was that the corded ware culture came from the Yamnaya, but the belief now is that the corded ware and the Yamnaya came from an original group that was in the Baltic area.
Is this based on actual history?
Before that, they came from the North Pole.
I see.
Yeah, and in archaeology, it's believed that they were responsible for the Neolithic, no, not Neolithic, the megalithic structures of, the 5th century, the 5th millennia.
So, but no, we're talking about in Siberia, in Greenland, where exactly?
Around the Baltic, around Russia.
And I mean,
okay,
I get
East,
you. Yeah, that actually makes
Western
sense.
Russia.
That makes sense, actually. It makes a lot of sense now. I mean, I was thinking about the Hittites, because the Hittites, Europeans, I guess you can say the European people, they actually came from the Europeans in Caucasia, not really from, the accepting criteria. It's very interesting. Like, historians, before they came to the actual, step theory, they actually thought that the Europeans came from Caucasia. Some of them even said it from Anatolia as well, I think. So it's very interesting. I think maybe some of the European groups could have come from Caucasia, like the Hittites. The Hittites are actually extinct now, But I think after that, you got Greek Armenians living in Anatolia. Even the Turks in Anatolia are literally just 85% Greek Armenian, and they literally only speak Turkish. It's like, because in some places the actual blood doesn't really change. The language or culture could change, right? Maybe a tiny bit of the blood could be from the various. Literally, some other places it doesn't really change. It's at least in some places, right?
Okay, I'll have to join back later, Ordinary Man, but that's interesting. Because I don't think that they came from Caucasia. I think they came from way north, above that. Oh no, not the Hittites. The original Indo-Europeans. The Hittites are much later people.
Yeah, I think that the original Europeans, I think they came from Crimean steppes in Ukraine, not really in Caucasia.
Perhaps, but the corded ware is much more to the west than it is to the Yamnaya, and there's not really as much evidence for the Yamnaya moving westward as it is for them the corded ware having come from a people that were from way before the Yamnaya anyway.
I see. So, do you think that they were in the Europeans before the Yamnaya, and do you think that they were in the Baltics, they came to the Septon Crimea, then they might have east into Iran and India and the west into Europe, right?
Yeah.
Fair.
They didn't go to Crimea first. They went to Crimea after Crimea and then the west into Europe. They went there at the same time, I think. Yes.
Okay. That makes sense.
Anyway, I'll be back.
Fine. What am I checking? I didn't say bricks.
Not really.
School. Yeah.
I don't really know anything about Indo-European stuff.
It's pretty easy to understand. I mean, people came from the steppes in Ukraine. A lot of them went to westward into Europe. A lot of them went to Central Asia, and basically they have a cultural, linguistic, and ethnic heritage, stuff like that.
I reckon we should, because it's just us, we should talk about technology, because I know you like technology.
Most exciting part. You know when it comes to noun, I talk about tech with him every day. We're talking about assembly, we're talking about this.
what's your opinion on the RAM crisis?
Okay, so when it comes to the RAM, it's because how AI, because all these AI they need to buy a lot of RAM and GPUs. So because of that, all these GPU and RAM companies, they basically or manufacturers all have to go about making profit, right? They're gonna put all of the products to be for the AI markets, make the money, but also the AI companies, right? Because they're leaders, and since all of them here, it's a lot more in demand. And then say some gamers wanting to go buy RAM or PC builders, right? Or console maker, previous maker, right? And because you get more profit of the more quantity and need and the AI data. And basically because of that, ASUS basically came in last second, like how the Polish Finger Star did in Vienna. They basically said, okay, we're gonna be making RAM because everyone has taken up the AI, right? And they basically saved gaming last minute, like fucking heroes. And they're also gonna ramp up the GPU production as well. Because Nvidia, literally, actually recently cut the consumer, GPU, manufacturing, basically sell, basically for AI, to basically focus all of it on AI, because AI is in the most demand, one of the biggest demands in for GPU, for them to have GPUs, so they can do the fucking I don't know, ChatGPT 5 or DeepSeek, whatever on the on the 500 to 1,000 GPUs, on the fucking servers, I assume, whatever they are. And coming in clutch to go, sell more GPUs to gamers directly, RAM as well.
I was thinking actually in regards to the artificial intelligence boom, because I have a feeling, because I've heard a lot of people say that there could be an inevitable crash of some kind. Because everyone's putting their eggs in one basket. There's a lot of AI companies arising, most of which are probably scams anyway. Because I assume most of these companies, their products is just, okay, here's a front end, but it's just connecting to ChatGPT or something like that in the background. You know what I mean? Like something lame like that.
That's just funny. I mean, there are good ones like, ChatGPT, DeepSeek is fine. I mean, what's the kind of like Grok and Perplexity. When it comes to Perplexity, one of the most informative and factual AIs you can ever use. And I don't want to always depend on AI for, because then again, people are going to go scolding why using AI to go do this and that, right? And when it comes to that, I obviously go and use Google, stuff online, right? So I'm not really a book reader.
Yeah.
I don't do it too often, right? I'm not against it. I mean, but I don't really directly read much books anymore. I'm sure kids, a lot of them may only focus on resources like internet, Google and videos and whatnot. I think that's okay. If you do it to a very huge extent and you're also watching a lot of stuff on the topic, I think you can get a nuanced view, to be equivalent to as a period around this stuff. Maybe, I don't know, right?
It really depends, to be honest, on the quality of the sources that you use.
Exactly.
Because some YouTubers, like Schwerpunkt is a good example,
Yeah.
although I don't really like watching him too much because he's kind of hard for me to understand.
I understand, okay.
He will make a video very comprehensive, and he will go into quite a lot of depth. And he does know what he's talking about.
Yes.
I think the problem with a lot of YouTubers is you can't tell, how good the quality of, how academic or how good they actually really are, because anyone can essentially make a YouTube video. I mean, I could make a YouTube video about anything. And a lot of videos as well, I find, they're okay, but I really only watch videos if I want, some form of cheap entertainment in the background.
Yeah, I understand.
If I really want to learn something, usually a good book written by, someone who knows how to write, something lucid, something good, is a better supplement. Or even if you don't want to read, an audio book of some ancient text that's easy to comprehend is just as good, to be honest. If you're willing, if if it helps you concentrate, if it helps you understand. I mean, really anything, to be honest, that helps you understand.
Yeah.
As long as it's good enough.
Yeah.
And it's actual, then it's not a bad thing in any
I
way,
agree with you
really.
on that, yeah. And like in regards to that, I do actually, because the videos I watch are not really like entertaining, like you're like basically deep and factual kind of like historical events, basically like knowledge stuff, right? Or basically in the video format, not really in the book format, right? And that's why I get all my most of my like knowledge from, right? Basically, also I've listened to the Quran and all these Asian texts basically on YouTube as well. What do you want to call that, like audiobook format? I guess it can count. When you know what I mean.
I think audiobooks are good. I mean, if someone finds them useful and they work, I don't think it's a bad thing at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, especially like, for example, like if you're deaf, not deaf. I mean, if you can't see, for example, if you're blind. Well, what's the main way you're going to listen to something? It's auditory. It's by someone telling you. Even before, like, in the past when people couldn't read or write, they just passed everything orally because that was the easiest way to pass information. Writing, it seems, only came later. I guess probably when people had more time to think about things and to record things, or they had a need to do so.
Yeah. In regards to that, I think if you go like around 2,000 years ago, existed, but it was only meant for like very short. Most of the time, it was only meant for like really short, kind of like royal proclamations or monuments, right?
Yeah.
Maybe about 600 AD, maybe a bit, maybe even in 200 AD, maybe even during like 2,000 years ago, a lot of the you would see like a lot of long books in Latin or Greek, right? During the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
But those were only meant for kind of like the actual elite people, more for the I thought, what do you call this kind of like
Aristocrat?
like Latin, like basically like the patron, what do you call it?
Patriarchs?
Like, you have like plebeians, right? Who are commoners, I don't think they can read, right?
Oh, plebeians and patricians, I know what you're talking about.
And those people were the ones who, able to read and write, so they would read very long books, ancient texts, like how long books right now, right, in prison, basically. But back then they were doing it in Greek and Latin because they were educated, right? There were a lot of books we do have now as well. We have right now, but you see those were in Greek and Latin. And only the elites, would be able to read them, and they were the ones who were also adding them or basically, translating them if they were not in those languages, or writing new books themselves. So
Actually, this is not actually related, but it's kind of a tangent. But I thought it would be interesting to share anyway because it's just something that came to mind. Because you were talking about the plebeians and the patricians.
Yeah.
It was interesting because I was reading a book about the origins, essentially, of government. And it was interesting because it said there was multiple forms or origins of government. So, as why did essentially it was talking about the efficient cause, which it's one of Aristotle's four causes. The efficient cause is just basically how something arises into being or existence. Like for example, how did you come into being ordinary man? Well, it's because your parents, had you, and the same with me. How did I come into existence? It's because my parents got together and had me, right? So it talks about the origins of government, and one of the most important, actually one of the most successful, one of the most successful government structures is actually the patriarchal, funnily enough, family. So how government starts initially under the patriarchal system is that, of course, two people get together, maybe a man and a wife, and they have children. And it's natural that when you're a child, the family actually is probably the most important and the first form of government, if you think about it. Because when you're a child, who do you obey first? Well, you obey your mother and father. You don't obey the state. You have no conception of government, really. You're a child. You just obey your parents because they look after you. Those are the first people who look after you. And so the idea goes that basically families got bigger and bigger, and the father was always the head of the family in most cases. And other families arose, right? There were different clans and different tribes. And I think the idea was that the patricians were the wealthy or founding families, right? Who banded together and united, I think, as a form of unified government.
Yes.
guess from that. Let me turn it down. Oh, that's a bit better. So essentially, what happened was, I guess, yeah, you have one of the origins of patriarchal government was basically families coming together, essentially.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, and like, yeah, I mean,
that's what I can remember.
I mean, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it was kind of makes a lot of sense. Like, you know, like the first few, you know, that kind of like a confederation, or kind of like, you know, like you know, now you know how the French basically made it like modern concept of basically the like of like a. But then, for example, the Roman Empire, if you go way back to there, it wasn't really you know, the identity for people, right? People.
Yeah, actually, yeah, go on.
I'm basically. So if you want to ask, actually, function was more of like hierarchy, so there wasn't like anything like and nationalism back then. So it's more kind of like a hierarchy. You had the you know, who would go send the you know, the people to go be in the Roman army, because you know, and you know, they'd be glad because the peasants, you know, the farmers, plebeian, like, you know, the plebeians wouldn't know how to do that. They wouldn't go land, and they, you know, they wouldn't even go like 2 to 4 kilometers for their entire life, right?
Actually, that's an interesting point, because the book I was reading said a similar thing. The nation per se, in the sense that, as you said, people like the Roman Senate or the people of Rome, it's, as you said, it's like they kind of had, I don't think, as in personified, as we kind of do now, we personify the nation. Oh, you know, this is, you know, we're Australians or whatever, you know, rather than we're people of under, I don't know, I can't remember exactly what it said, but
like
something to that effect.
On the emperor, basically, being on the sovereignty, or is the state more of like our own, before we make, right, basically inventing modern.
Yeah.
For instance, you know how when like Rome conquered Greece, right? Basically, the Greeks and states and governments there, like in Athens or Sparta, you know, Macedonia, they will keep functioning the way, because you know the systems were already well developed. So basically, and you know, basically the Eastern Roman Empire, basically, like, you know, language and military culture, because they weren't independent anymore, and the sovereignty was, you know, to the emperor, and maybe some imperial law would exist on top of the rest of the Greek foundation, right? The rest of the Greek things, right?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I got distracted a bit.
Fine. But yeah, it's very interesting. And, you know, what are your thoughts on, because you know, you know, a lot of these immigrants, I'm saying all of them, but a lot of these immigrants who come into, you know, say America, Australia, they actually identify with their ethnicity, and, you know, there are people, you know, for example, when they come, right? Like, when my parents came, they actually became Australian very quickly, you know? Even though, you know, I was born and raised here, so I'm politically Australian, right? And I like, identify as Australian, right? So, you know, I be ethnically Iranian. I don't identify as Iranian. I like identify as Australian, right? So,
yeah.
but my friend is telling me that most of these immigrants, they actually like me. They're telling me that, you know, that I'm the how I'm out, like, because you know, saying that, you know, people identify with the race when they immigrate, right? Rather than the country, right? Right? And like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I don't like, you know, identify with my race anymore. You know?
Yeah.
And that's
actually an interesting point.
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact, especially myself, I do call myself Australian, but I also actually identify myself as Maltese as well.
Yeah.
Mainly because, I mean, most people when they see me, they can tell that I look foreign of some description.
Why is that for?
So they ask, oh, you know, even though I speak, you know, even though I'm Australian, I speak English
Yeah.
natively, and I was born here.
Yeah.
Obviously, I look foreign because I guess most of the Australians beforehand. So the idea, I guess, of Australia, even in my mind, the idea of an Australian is someone who's Anglo-Saxon, because that's just, again, the Anglo-Saxons were the people who were in Australia for the longest.
They were
the ones who founded the nation of Australia.
Yeah. Australia is, because my father told me Australia is culturally British. Even I believe that they had some, you know, we're definitely, you know, culturally Anglo-Saxon and linguistically as well.
Yeah.
I guess some of the heritage brought here. I actually thought that we were partly, maybe fully, you know, culturally Anglo-Saxon, right? But like, what Anglo-Saxon of culture is like, I don't really think all of our common is between the like English church, like the Anglican church. What do you think is really culturally Anglo-Saxon over here?
I mean, I can't thoroughly tell you, but because I don't really study these things, obviously. But one thing I've noticed, and I actually do agree, is that the Anglo-Saxons have always had an idea of independence, it seems. Which I've noticed, like, you know, they pride independence as something very good. So I like, for example, I'll have friends, you know, whose family will say, for instance, you know, oh, you know, when you're 18, you know, you should leave the house. Because I think the idea maybe in Anglo-Saxon culture is that, you know, the parents provide for you, but they ultimately want you to fend for yourself and to look after yourself and to establish yourself.
My like family is exactly like that. It's really
Yeah.
because, you know, they came here when they were young, they kind of became Anglo-Saxon, I guess. Yeah.
I think that, like, that's one thing. I can tell with Australians as well.
Yeah.
Australian culture in general, it's very laid back in Australia, I find.
Yes.
Like, a lot of people, not really in the city, but if you go to a coastal area, a little small country town, for instance, you know, the people are a lot more friendlier. You know, they're not really as anxious. They don't rush around.
Yeah,
it's very egalitarian in Australia as well.
Yes.
You know, everyone's kind of treated, which is a good and a bad thing in a sense, but everyone's kind of treated equally. No one's really, you know, like even the Prime Minister, you know, he could be walking down the street and he just looked like a regular bloke, you know what I mean? It seems like everyone's kind of seen, not always, but for the most part, it's like everyone's on an equal footing. You know, like you could probably call you a boss mate and he wouldn't care, you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Unlike in places, you know how people say, like, you know, how Islamic countries are not like egalitarian? Well, you know, it isn't really the religion. Because the religion says that, you know, in the Quran to basically go treat all the humans equally, you know, to not go on and discriminate based off, you know, race, gender, right? And to, you know, trying to treat them righteously, right? Basically, in Islamic countries, it's more of the actual culture of the, like, you know, the ethnic culture of the actual, you know, politics. That is like makes it egalitarian of the actual religion, right? So that's why I see a lot of these Australian politicians don't actually understand that. And like, you know, for example, Indonesia actually had a president, you know, they had a female president for like three years, right? If you're aware of it.
So what were you saying, Ordinary Man? Because I think you cut off.
Okay, tell me what was the last thing I said.
You were talking about, I think, Islamic countries, and then you said something about a female president, but you were cutting out.
Okay, so basically, do you know Indonesia from 2001 to 2004 actually had a female president for like 3 years, and you know, and that's a Muslim majority country, and you know, no one really cared that actually was female. So, because the Quran actually prohibits women from like running for like politics. It's more in a lot of places, more of the actual culture, more of the actual norm that, like, you know, that ethnic groups have, right? Rather than the actual faith, for example.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
but I'm sure, yeah.
Because Indonesia, unlike, you know, Arab countries, some other countries, it is actually a matriarchal society. Because, you know, Indonesia used to be Hindu before Islam came there. Before, like, you know, because before it was Islam, they were following Hinduism. Because, you know, India had like a cultural influence of East Asia, like in Thailand, Cambodia, you know, in Indonesia and Philippines, right? They actually used to go trade there. They didn't even want an Indian Empire in the south actually had actual colonies, territories in like Indonesia as well, right? So the Indonesians were even after converted to Islam, a lot of the pre-Islamic, like a lot of the Hindus elements actually played and remained. That's why a lot of them still like dressed like that. Like Hindus, a lot of them have like all those Hindus, like it's like for example Persians when they converted to Islam, they actually kept a lot of the Zoroastrian celebrations. They basically integrated into the religion, right? Like only people that I see that actually keep the Islamic celebrations is literally Persians and Indonesians, and no one cares. But if pagans want to do it, like or other people, they would do it. People want to look at them.
I think Christians did a similar thing.
Yes.
Because I've heard there are Christian festivals that had pre-pagan origins, but they were adapted once once of course the Roman Empire became Christian. I think one example that I can think of is there's a festival called Ferragosto. And from what I've heard, Ferragosto was actually in celebration originally of the Emperor Augustus.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm aware, Caesar Augustus was raised. I think after he died, he was raised to the status of a god, lowercase g, and he was worshipped. So I think, from memory, Ferragosto, I assume, was probably a celebration of him as a god, lowercase g. But I think what happened was the Christians adapted that, and they turned it into a festival about, I think, the Assumption of Our Lady, or the Assumption of the Virgin Mary, which is like, it's a Catholic doctrine. I don't really understand it very well. If Jaime was here, he'd explain it. But that's one example. I think that's probably what happened as well. Even probably in Islamic countries, in Christian countries, a lot of these old festivals, I don't think they necessarily died out of these customs, but they probably changed a bit to adapt to the new religion, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so for a lot of faiths, man. So you love people saying that Islam can replace well, that wasn't really the case. I mean, maybe sometimes it could have, sometimes it could have been maybe a bit more extreme Christians. I don't really think that was the case. I think that a lot of even the Arab patriarchy and tribalism, it survived in Arab countries under Islam, right? Even though paganism was gone, the tribalism, yes, the Bedouism, they actually survived, right? And that's why I have to say, to be honest. What else was I going to say? I mean, my family, even though we're ethnically Iranian, we're actually culturally Anglo-Saxon, because they're literally like any white family. They basically tell me that like after you're 18, when you're 20s, you should go leave the house, because we're not always going to be here. You have to go fend.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it as soon as next or this year. So fresh from that, it's like literally.
Because my family is the complete opposite. Maybe it's a European thing. But I know for a fact that European families, the parents want the family to stay as long as they can until marriage. Because especially today, it's kind of not impossible, but it's extremely difficult if you were to live on your own. So I think the idea now is, probably in the past as well, is that as long as you're not married, your parents raise you and you help your parents as well when you get older. It's a more tight-knit structure, if that makes sense. It's more family-orientated in that sense. Because even my family is quite small, but it is quite close, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. I mean, I'm close to my family. My brother telling me that he's not going to be able to, afford, a lot of things. So saying you have to go live by yourself, you have to have your own job and look after yourself, right? We're not always going to be here for you, That's kind of sad. I mean, it's his choice, I don't mind what he does, right? He's, the boss, I follow everything he says, I mean, yeah.
If your family loves you, though, ordinary man, they're always going to support you, no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, even if they want you to be independent, I'm sure if you ask them for help, they'll definitely help you out.
Yeah, I think they are trying to, actually. I have a very close family, you know, I have a very close family. They're very loving, very supportive. You know, I don't really have any friends. The only friends I really have is my family. You know, I consider them to be friends. You know, kin or whatever you want to call it. You know, it's very important. People, you know, not say every family is though. You know.
Yeah, and honestly, that will. I think you will. I mean, I think you'll make friends as well as time goes on, even if you don't really think so.
My mom
I think eventually you will.
Because my mom
To be
telling me,
honest.
my mom telling me when you go to university, you know, when you go out and do shit, you know, I mean, when you go out and stuff, you can, you know, work you can find.
Yeah, but that's off topic for this podcast. But
So sorry, bro.
yeah, you get the idea.
I'm sorry about going off topic there.
No, that's alright, mate. Don't worry. No,
Okay,
don't apologise.
Anyways, what am I thinking? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, we talked about the RAM shortage, and then we went on a tangent. I think. What else was I thinking of? Oh yeah. I don't know. I was thinking about cars, I guess, because I've been playing a lot of Gran Turismo.
Based. That's based. And apparently, you have like a Ford, which I think is based because you're gonna get all those guys with like going and living in your engine. Gas, or like,
Sure.
gas. That is literally gonna enter the nose and then literally gonna fall to the floor and bounce to you.
Ordinary. I'll get up a picture of what my car looks like in real life. Give me a second. It's like a Ford Focus 2006 sedan. Let me show you.
All the girls are gonna party in that.
Yeah, sure, mate.
I'm joking. I'm
Oh
not
no, it's just funny.
And one of the girls is literally gonna end up drunk in the seat.
Oh mate, look, this is literally what my car looks like in real life. Like it's the most average, boring looking car you've ever seen. It looks like a rally car.
It's like normal American car.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks like some, you know one of those like slave, like office workers, you know, like from like loving those, like the next 7 years of life, like those mundane movies. Oh, I'm so sorry, bro. It looks like a 95 car that people who, you know, go to the next few years, like basically sad, literally soulless. Like I'm in a place. I'm going to work. My boss is gonna tell me to go about 3 speeding because he's.
No, this is my father's car. He doesn't drive it as much, but this is what he has.
I mean, it looks like a normal Aussie car to be honest. I see a lot of these cars sometimes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Falcons. I kind of wish Australia made cars because we used to like make Falcons.
Yeah, we actually used to manufacture it for the Americans and Japanese, I think. And then tell the oh guys, we're gonna stop now. No, we're gonna stop with them. I think like the companies, like the actual companies said it. Like the car companies said it. We didn't stop it, but they stopped it. Ford, Toyota is like, oh, we're not gonna more about it. It's like too expensive, you know, something like that.
Yeah. Because my grandfather laments because when he came to Australia, he was a toolmaker I think initially, but he remembers when Australia used to have manufacturing, and he always tells me, you know, he laments all the time that we used to manufacture everything here. And then of course we got of course, you know, I guess it makes sense because it's appealing. Oh, you know, the Chinese can make it for cheaper, why don't we just get them to do everything? And of course, you know, manufacturing here dwindles and nothing gets made here anymore. Even though we have the capabilities and the resources to use, it's not like we don't have anything here. It's just that it seems like we don't utilize them properly at all, from what I can tell, you know.
It makes a lot of sense.
Or we sell them to foreigners, which is extremely stupid because why would you sell national resources to foreigners? It's dumb. It doesn't make sense.
What are we doing? What the? Oh, I'm surprised to hear that. We're selling all the resources we need for our country to be foreigners. Like, guys,
that's what I've heard. Yeah.
That's just funny.
That's what my grandfather tells me. I don't know if that's true, but yeah,
that's cool. I mean, like, you know, for example, even in America, like, even though they may go out and design the products, they're gonna have it assembled in China because it's just cheaper. Not that when the Chinese assemble it, it's like quality. Like, it doesn't really affect anything, but it's just like kind of, how do you say, you know, it's just cheaper, kind of like, you're not doing it yourself, China could manufacture, and then you have to go spend more money to go do it yourself, which is a lot more expensive, right? But then I got these American politicians saying, we're not going to stop having China manufacture our stuff, because kind of like, we'll have like, Chinese slave workers, like, they're getting paid low wages. But in reality, I don't think they really care. They're just doing it for their own agenda. I mean, I understand that. Politics, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Anyways, what was I going to say? Did you actually know Wi-Fi was actually invented in Australia?
Yeah, the CSRIO, I think, invented it by accident. I don't know much about that, but that's what I've heard.
I think they invented like radio, basically for like, I think like, what's the place? I forgot, because I watched a video back in 2018, I just forgot what it was for. But when I was talking to my friend, I confused like CSRIO with like fucking Cisco. CSRIO
was Cisco.
Because I was so dumb and I was like, what? My mind was clouded. It was so crazy. Because Cisco's American, but I think the like CSRIO is probably Australian, right?
Yeah, they're Australian. But I think I don't even think they're going to be any good anymore, because they're literally cutting staff, which is stupid. It's like we have our own research division in this country, and we don't even put money into it. It's just those countries. I mean, sometimes the things that bloody politicians do.
It's democracy, bro. Democracy in the Western world. For the last 70 years, we're gonna have to private companies and lobbies are basically gonna lobby both parties to go follow their agenda and lie to the people. It's basically democracy, guys.
Well, I mean, I don't even know if you can call it a democracy, because
it is a
democracy.
It is a private oligarchy, because the companies are doing it. So that it's a private oligarchy now. The private companies are exactly what they want.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say, like, I mean, the only choice you have as a voter is for, again, who you elect into parliament. Because the people in parliament are the ones who represent you. The voters themselves, obviously, they're not voting on every single policy, which that wouldn't really make any sense. You elect leaders who represent you, and if you want to represent the country, you have to, again, enter politics. If that makes sense.
I do it. I mean, I do it. I might become emperor. I don't know. I might become emperor.
Honestly, that'll be hilarious if you become friggin' Shah of Australia.
I'll become
or something.
Shah, the emperor at all, like Caesar, the princeps, the freaking sultan of Australia. I mean, the freaking king of Australia. Imagine that. And I basically said, okay, we're gonna go manufacture things now, because I think we're capable of doing so, and then literally overriding everyone else. Overriding people say, no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna follow what these people say, right? We're basically doing it anyways.
Well, that's the thing, actually, because the king, I guess on paper, it seems, would have more power, wouldn't he? Because, I mean, yeah, he'd have opposition, but he's ultimately the one in charge. He can ultimately say, okay, I want this done, I want this done, I want this done, and he can get it done quickly.
Yeah, it's basically like an autocratic ruler. If you're not calling the king, we feel like an autocratic ruler. You feel like a supreme leader or some, dictator. But some dictatorship is actually good, not bad. But it really depends on like if you're a bad or good leader. Really, if you're also autocratic or you're democratic, if you know what I mean, right? So like for example, Singapore. Singapore is exactly democracy. There's this one party called the PAP. They basically use propaganda to make everyone basically vote for them for the last 70 years. But even then, they actually implement good policies. They actually are good rulers, good leaders. So Singapore is a good dictatorship, much better than democratic Australia. Apparently democratic Australia, right? I think we should look at Singapore, for example, in the modern world and what they did.
Actually, on the topic of Singapore, Singapore reminds me of China, because my father, when he was younger, he said he went to China when, tourism opened up. And he was telling me, like, China, when he visited, I think maybe in the 70s or the 80s, I can't remember. Probably the 80s or 90s, actually. Well, when he said he visited, China was basically, it was barren, he said. It was basically farmland, very agrarian. But pretty much, now the China that my dad saw is completely unrecognizable because it's modernized so much. And I assume Singapore is probably the same.
Yeah, so Singapore basically they were kicked out of Malaysia. They had to go on, everything from the ground up. They had to reform basically in Northern Russia, they basically went from like being a fishing village to a fucking, naturist metropolis, right? I have like a harmony between people and stuff. Implementing very policies. Well, I could deep part, which was, I say everything about it, talk about it, That doesn't really, that's a big no, folks.
So, what do you say? What are you trying to say?
I was just talking about what Singapore did, but, I don't want to focus too much on it, because, it is the main topic, I don't want to go out of topic, but,
Yeah, fair enough.
well, like, Lee Kuan Yew, he did pretty well, if you really want to look into it, just go search it up.
I think,
yeah.
actually, you sent me, I remember you sent me a quote from Lee Kuan, whatever his name is, the Singaporean bloke.
Yeah.
I think he was critical from memory of Australia's government. I forgot why. I think it was for the reason I said prior, that they have all these natural resources and they don't really bother to. It's like we have everything in the world, but we're not resourceful. We don't really do anything with what we have. Does that make sense?
I can't believe we've been kicking ourselves in the ass like 24/7. Like.
Yeah.
I mean, actually saying that Australia is it looks at Asians as like second-class people, and they look at them as like inferior and they're very racist.
Yeah, that too.
And because of that, they're going to go behind when the Asian nations kind of like develop more, like they're basically being idiots, basically.
Yeah, he said that. He said basically the Australians view the Asians with disdain, even though it's the Asians who are most of these Asian countries are very successful.
Yeah.
And they also provide a lot for Australia through trade.
Absolutely.
As well.
Sure.
And actually, we even trade with them. So we export to them as well.
Yes.
So I guess it goes both ways.
Yeah. Exactly. What was I gonna say? you know when like the video is the fucking 590 driver, basically ripped out the heart of me. And basically said, "Fuck you, we're gonna end your life. We're gonna send you into the realm of darkness, basically. Goodbye." And actually happened was that when I was updating my Linux system, that actually reinstalling my video driver, that actually happened. I'm like,
yeah.
But
to be honest.
Yeah. Because technically TI has the exact same performance as 3060. I think even better.
Really?
Even slightly better than both of them actually.
Interesting. Okay.
So that is a very powerful GPU. Even with ray tracing, it can run pretty much most apps. It's literally like a 3060 basically.
Honestly, I find with computer hardware, you'll probably feel the same way, but it feels like they can't really innovate as much anymore. It's like we're starting to hit limits with how fast computers can get.
That's sad, man.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, our CPUs and GPUs are literally like, do you even need to buy the newest freaking design it's literally only meant for people who are literally I don't know, pushing the boundaries of literally basically if you want to run AI models, you want to run literally simulations, where you think then yeah, but literally most people are not doing it. So you can literally have a 3060 or 3070, and that's the highest you would need unless you're trying to run 4K or something like that. It's funny to me.
Yeah. I mean, I used to have a Haswell 4th Gen i7 470K or something with some AMD GPU, which from memory I gave to you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty old. It was 2012. That's almost 10 years old now. But it did everything I wanted it to do. There was I didn't really have a lot of issues with it, other than the CPU was a bit trash because it kept crashing. But it played games fine, really.
At the time, it should actually. From 2015, it should be excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Video driver Linux, the actual driver is very good now. I'll say that the Windows maybe even better now. They're actually equivalent to Windows, so they're excellent. They play games extremely well, very well. They UOS streaming very well. Technical coding is perfect. Actually, And actually, yeah, even ray tracing is supported, right? And like, what else was I thinking? Like, it's very good. Like, no issues with it. It's nothing to do with, like, Linux on the video. Basically, the only issue that I have with like video is basically the newest is that basically drop support for Pascal on like it's like on like every OS. It affects every OS. It's the actual driver by itself. It isn't like the OS or the card. It's just the actual driver that came out. Like newest driver basically for like Pascal. So it's like a driver issue. Basically that we're not going to support Pascal anymore, right?
Which is funny as well because I'm sure a lot of people are still running Pascal GPUs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know when I think of Pascal, I think of the fucking candy of Pascal. Oh, like where's my architecture of the Pascal?
I mean, they should just open source the old Pascal drivers or something.
But because
Oh yeah, I guess probably for licensing reasons. Yeah, you're probably right.
Like, do you know the open source driver from the video is basically a reverse engineering of the actual proprietary driver by some random dude, right? And even that random dude, he was employed by the video, so I don't know what the video is going to do with him, or a project he has. Anyway, yeah. But I mean, like, the actual old, the proprietary drivers, the last one for my GPU, it exists. You can go and download it. You can go install it on Arch Linux. But for some reason, it just doesn't work. But like even then, like on Gen 2, the newest in the video which is still 580. With my GPU fine. 580 is still 580 on Arch Linux. On Arch Linux, it just doesn't work.
Jeez, I remember when I was a kid. Like in high school, I installed Gen 2 on my not my laptop, my desktop. And I remember it was just a nightmare because like compile times took ages. And I had an issue once where for some reason I couldn't update anymore because it was like a dependency issue. And I just never bothered to fix my Gen 2 install because I just got fed up. So I switched to Arch because I was like, I'm done, I couldn't be bothered anymore.
Yeah, Gen 2 is so annoying. Even though I'm able to fix things, right? All the time I know how to fix the things, right? I ask Google, I ask AI to tell me what I'm doing wrong, right? But even then, like even though I have 6 control threads, and I'm using like the full 6 control threads to go compile everything, even on that, on a Ryzen 5 3600, it's still a bit slow. It's still a bit slow. I guess sometimes it's really annoying. I just want to go and install an app or update system. It's so long. Installing Node.js, I just used 100% of my CPU and I was doing it for like freaking 2 hours or something. Like, 2 hours just to install fucking Node.js, something happened.
Oh god. Yeah, that sounds like Gen 2.
Even on like a 4 GPU, which doesn't like. That's why I think Arch or Debian because the actual packages are actually pre-compiled. But why Gen 2 is still but because in Gen 2, since the actual packages is source code, is the best distro for multiple architectures, for like non-x86 architectures. Because like as long as the source code can literally go and compile, it's going to go and compile on literally every architecture. Literally most core apps and libraries are actually going to be on ARM or maybe it'll be on RISC-V, right? So like and it isn't just that the source code is isn't that you're just going to compile on on those architectures, but also because like Gen 2 they're also going and actually maintaining and testing well on the so that's like Gen 2 best cross architecture compatibility. I think it's non-x86 is even the fucking Motorola 68 SNES CPU has support is supported by Gen 2. It has an entire what the fuck?
Yeah, even I think in the PlayStation
it's like 16 CPU and it freaking supports Gen 2. Like the actual Linux kernel doesn't even support it doesn't even support 16 bit. Like Gen 2 breaks the nature. Like what the fuck is this? It's like I'm losing my mind and looking at the website. What the fuck is this? That CPU architecture, it's 16-bit.
Yeah, so I was gonna say as well, I think even someone got Gen 2 running on a PlayStation 3 before they I think whether you used to allow like other OS, like you can install
Yeah, it's
Linux
not
on it or
PC.
something.
PC, yeah, it's like good support. I know Gen 2, but like, you know how the PS1 uses like MIPS, right? Gen 2,
Yeah.
you know, even if PS2 had an official Linux DVD, right? Like my Sony, right?
Yeah.
Then Gen 2 it supports MIPS in general, right? And then the PS1 uses MIPS as well. But even that's, because you know, like, there's kind of like, you know, Linux, kind of like, support, like a Linux like kernel to like 16-bit, right? So maybe that Gen 2 could work on a Motorola 68K. But even then, what kind of firmware does like a fucking like SNES? What kind of firmware does like a Motorola 60K? But then again, because you know the original Macintosh, Amiga, they actually use a Motorola 68K. I think these computers have their own firmware, right? For those computers, and you know the SNES and Genesis probably have their own different firmware or what they have as well, right? So I think it really depends on the actual computer console, right? There isn't like, you know, one, they've got different firmwares for each kind of computer. So how is that going to work? Say for example Gen 2, then Motorola 68K, what kind of firmware do you have to use on? So I'm going to ask AI, because I'm literally going like like, you know, the voices are like literally coming to me right now. I mean, go and ask
Someone even installed Gen 2 on a PlayStation 2.
I mean, then you can technically do Gen 2 and the PS1 if you can find the way to go and you know, make the firmware work, technically.
Yeah.
But the PS1 has like no hard drive. The PS2 you can actually add a hard drive and like a mouse and internet. I don't think you do it on the PS1. I think the PS1 you have to like run Gen 2 literally off like CD-ROM. Gen 2 still supports like you know, CD-ROM because it supports like a Pentium 1 and Pentium 2 or 3 computer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might be the first person in the history to go on Gen 2 PS1 on there. I'm not sure guys. I'm going to cross the human frontier. I'm going to go get some
Install Gen 2 on the PlayStation 1.
literally find the way to make the firmware work and bypass all this fucking shit, like, you know, OEM shit, to basically run the Gen 2 version off a PS1 CD, off a CD-ROM, and then basically, you know, CD-ROM I'm going to store some stuff. But basically, like the core Gen 2 applications on the, you know, the live CD applications are going to be already compiled for MIPS. And if the PS1 is x32-bit, then yes, if we find a way to make the firmware work and bypass all this shit, we can technically make ROM on a PS1, I guess. But how are you gonna use a controller to go? I don't think you can even use a controller to go type in stuff. I think you won't even be able to go type in anything.
Wow, someone actually ported the Linux kernel to the PlayStation 1.
What? No way! No way! If the kernel was ported, it means you can already run Gen 2 or like any edition you want, technically. So you can already do that. Bro,
Yeah,
these kids are literally making a console basically run.
Yeah. It's cool though.
Yeah. They're basically some old Cisco machine. Some old Cisco networking machine.
Honestly, I think Risk 5 is probably gonna overtake MIP.
I think it already did. Didn't it?
Yeah.
And then some boards, but outside of that, it is only for like academia. So like, you know why I like Risk on outside of all the more or x86, Risk is the only one that is actually open to go on CPU if it was one of the two. They, you know,
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of innovation happen. But you know, currently ARM CPUs.
Actually, that's yeah. I was gonna say, sorry to interrupt you.
That's fine.
But that's actually what in university. That's what actually they taught us. They taught us basically the Risk function course entirely in Risk 5. Like I had to add like multiplication instructions to like a Risk 5 CPU in like Verilog or something.
You had to add what? Instructions and
Yeah, it was multiplication and division instruction.
the very basic function of a CPU. So you're literally going and designing a CPU from like scratch on that architecture, bro. You expect you're a god now. I'm joking. I mean, you're like a.
Oh no! I didn't make it. I didn't make it from scratch. They gave us an already existing CPU, and then I added instructions on top of it. If that makes sense.
That is so impressive because you are adding this CPU. That is still very I you have respect. You're a legend now.
Oh, I didn't really do anything, but thank you.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, like, imagine if someone actually made their own open source. Like, imagine if someone made like a high performance. I mean, like, imagine if someone made like a RISC-V chipset on some like motherboard, like like PC. Imagine that. And then everyone is open source.
Oh, that would be so cool. Like an open source motherboard, open source GPU, open source CPU.
Yeah,
that would be so
hardware.
cool.
Open source hardware. Imagine that. People are gonna go and rebel against freaking companies, and they're gonna be like, but that's why it's very difficult because it is like copy paste code, open source software. But even then, right? Because how even the firmware is mainly not open source because it's like it's basically like, it's proprietary. They don't want anyone to go and take the technology, right? Like the firmware, like the BIOS, locked down, so like only open source realm is like software right now. Hardware and is closed. We're basically going and gatekeeping and doing everything for us. But all these fans will actually go on.
The thing is, I think the only way that if you had a lot of these open source alternatives, I think the only way that they would be able to get off the ground successfully is if corporations are willing to put money and time into improving and developing these open source systems. Like the Linux kernel, for example. The only reason why it is the way it is now is because so many corporations and so many different companies are working on the Linux kernel to add drivers and support for it for all these platforms because it's so widely, you know what I mean? Like the Linux kernel is quite, the development is funded by, massive corporations. It's not entirely grassroots, you know what I mean? Just a bunch of developers in their basements.
Cool, bro. That is so cool. It's just so funny. Someone has a bunch of developers in the basement. Isn't that funny? Like, we're gonna be, grandma's house. We're gonna be someone's, active like rats and food, and we're gonna go on.
I think we're rats.
That's just so funny to me. Actually, it's not like I mean, it's not like a computer scientist, guy. That's she programming it by his freaking university. Like, imagine if you were doing that, for example, I would be pretty impressive to go start out like that,
Yeah. Yeah, that would be funny.
Yeah, bro. What do you thought of the Huns? They attacked Rome. They attacked Rome. Attila. The girl.
I don't know much about the Huns, but they're gay because they attacked Rome, and Rome is the best.
And how they weren't actually an ethnic group. They were actually a political confederation of Turks and other people. So you could be angry at the Turks because they were part of the Huns. They want.
The Turks attacked the Roman Empire.
No. Turks were ethnic groups in the Huns. The Huns included multiple ethnicities in the.
Okay, that makes sense.
Turks came and they wanted to go conquer. I mean, part of them were Turks, right? But yeah, it's like even the Shongu were actually just very much a confederation of Turks and both Turks and Mongols and other people, right? It's like
Oh wait, are the Huns related to the Hungarians? The modern day Hungarians?
No, Huns are more kind of like take for like Turks and nomads. No, it's not Hungarian.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah, I don't. To be honest, I don't know much about Roman history. I think you and Jaime probably know a lot more than I do.
I see. Okay, fair enough.
you know what I was thinking the other day when we were playing Roblox?
Yeah.
We have to make, like, even as a meme, because it'll be funny, we have to make a Rome vs. Persia game. That would be really fun.
Let's go! Let's go! I'll make the fucking show like a Dessa. The Persian Emperor goes and captures the Roman Empire, makes him bow. Almost like a historically. Like, okay, I'm gonna put you in a prison and you're gonna stop to death for a few years. Like, let's.
No, that would be so funny.
That would be so fire.
cool.
I'm gonna invite literally about 2,000 people. We're gonna make them literally go and yeah, this is so fucking cool.
Let's see, I'm gonna look it up.
One of
Battle
the
of-
best fucking warlords in existence. The best fucking warlords.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, honestly, that would be pretty cool. Like, I think, I mean, there are games already that, like Total War Rome, that imitate, you know, like Roman
Actually,
battles.
the Byzantines versus the Persians actually. But you can't I can't even play. You can't even the movement. So like, it's just funny to me.
You can't get Total War. I think you can still buy Total
No,
War.
I mean, I'm saying, but you can't get characters to do anything. It just the way like it doesn't even work. It's always controls you to do anything. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, because I think.
Yeah. Okay, it's cool.
Sorry, something happened, but
Cool.
I was gonna say, I think yeah, because I think Total War Rome, from memory, I think it's top down, so you control, you give AI instructions, but you can't control an individual AI yourself. Because I know Mountain Blade Warband, you actually can, like, you can install, like, Rome mods, you can
That's
play as, like, a
cool.
Roman soldier, and just, like, slash people to death, which is kind of
I'm
fun.
gonna play an emperor who basically goes and commands a few generals, basically tell them to go and do this shit, go do that. And we're gonna ride on our horses, we're gonna go and do fun shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, men's like,
Yeah, I've got
we're
no
gonna
idea.
go and bring that girl.
Yeah, I wanted you to talk to her because I thought it would be funny. Because both of you, I think, are Persian or something. I think she's Iranian. I don't know where from, but
Oh,
I don't know if she's actually Persian or I don't know. She has some link to Iran. I don't know, Afghanistan or something like that.
Oh, okay. What? Wait, how do I bring her here? I'm gonna go ping him to go bring the lady here. Mr. Hyman.
Let's see. I'll send him a message.
This is. I'll watch a clip of this yesterday. This is funny.
I just said. Okay, we'll see. We'll see what he says.
It's funny.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, I watched a short clip of this. Oh yeah, the Clifton Stewart. I haven't watched that video.
Basically, there's this black guy who thinks that he's a fucking Israelite, like, this, this shit. Israelites are superior than other humans. I'm like, what the fuck am I? What the fuck am I listening to? Like, what the fuck am I listening to?
Oh, hang on a second. Generate a new link. Okay, I've got it. Please join this epic server. Like and subscribe for more updates.
Ping the girl. I'm gonna go greet her.
Let's see if she joins. I don't know if she will. Anyway. What should we say? What should we talk about in the meantime? We talked about GPUs. We talked about more GPUs. We talked about the Motorola 16K architecture, which you lost your mind over.
I want to ask a question. Yeah, how does that even work on Gen 2? Is like Motorola 16K architecture. number keys are broken. My number keys are broken on my laptop.
Actually,
Well, yeah, I think the last 12 months actually.
what laptop do you have?
The same one as yours. My keys have been broken
Oh,
the last
yeah,
12
yeah.
months. And it's broken the last 12 months.
Oh god. Yeah, you need a new laptop, mate.
My parents are like, no way, no way. Work like Uber Eats, for example, I'm literally gonna go and spend the money for the pen over the laptop. Saving up for a $3,000 MacBook is gonna take like, 2 to 4 months. That shit, it's like, no.
What were you gonna say? You were gonna go to Japan to get a laptop?
No.
Oh. They have some interesting laptops actually in Japan.
Oh.
I saw like a Japanese laptop with a DVD drive because they're so old that they still use DVD
Yeah,
drives in Japan.
LTTV, that's crazy.
Oh, okay, she's here now. This is epic. Okay.
Donna's here.
She waved to herself. I don't get it anyway. Alright, we're gonna see.
Should I ask her?
I don't know if
Should I
my
ask her
man,
if she's
the
Persian?
other one's gonna join.
Yo, do you want to join the podcast?
Do you want to join the podcast? I want to see what happens. This is gonna be funny.
I don't mean it rhetorically or poetically or theoretically in a funny way. Okay? Alright, that's cool. Okay,
Let's see what
actually,
happens.
Rex, I have a question. How would you get me to like go rogue on the podcast?
How would I compare you to Joe Rogan?
How would you compare me to him?
I mean, obviously Joe Rogan is more professional, but that's because he's been doing it for a longer period of time.
Absolutely.
And he actually has interesting guests. So like, I'm basically a nobody.
You're actually pretty. I could find any one person to be very interesting. One of them too. I'll put it. Well, I mean, I guess most people. I mean, there are people who are more interesting. Like, you know, just done some other. Like, I think a lot of them are. Actually.
You know, you have to like get random people to debate you. Like the economic growth guy, and he's just gonna like, he's just gonna the economy grows.
Hey guys, what's up?
Okay,
Welcome back.
there you go, parties are
Mark
on.
Hyman. Hey, as it is, what's up?
Hello. Hi.
What's up?
This guy.
Zeta, hello. Merriman, this is my friend from real life.
I see.
She knows
I
about
don't know
Indo-Europeans. You don't actually.
I'm not
realize-
lying. I don't know enough like on debating. That's needed like
We need the debate. Ordinary man, you know what I want of you right now? I want you to give your best arguments right now
about what?
about Persia.
What about Persia?
Yes, only the best.
Like, I'm not gonna say. I don't like. I just like to say that, you know, the two great giants.
Not about Rome, no, it's not about Rome. Okay.
So what's your
She's from Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So do you Gari? Do you speak Hazagari or anything?
Like the Haredi dialect. That's what I see.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Okay, so what do you argue about? You don't argue about Iran?
What happened?
About East Persia versus West Persia. East
Yeah.
Iran versus West Iran.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, all guys, you know, I mean, like, in Eastern Iran, it's more like, we kind of got this, like, ethnic Iranians, so basically all the Baluchi peoples, right? They can be found not just in Iran, but also in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and they are more similar to Pakistanis and Indians. They're Iranians, ethnically and nationally, and like, West Iranian is very diverse. The Kurds, Persians, you kind of got
Yeah, Afghanistan is like the Tajik, which is like equally around. We have Pashtuns, we have Hazaras, we have all the other ones except two.
it's a bit low. Yeah. It's like, I mean, I can't really hear you well. I feel like your voice is kind of like a bit.
Yeah, my thing is muffled, my microphone.
It's okay. I mean,
I can understand her because I don't know, I've been listening for a bit.
if you could type in as well, I guess, because like at least on my end, the voice is muffled.
Yeah, because my stupid microphone, I can't like hold it to like the end.
I think I just if you can go and type what you want to say in. You can, if you want, of course, if you want.
Wait, what do I say again?
Say say what you were saying. And type in what you're saying.
In the chat.
No, that's what.
Chat position. Okay.
Well,
I'm looking at
mentioning ethnic groups.
Yeah, that's cool. So we're talking about Iranian ethnics. We got the Persians, we got the Balus, the Pashtuns, we got kind of like Kurds. Maybe look, yeah, some other people. Oh yeah, Tajik.
I've got a question, ordinary man.
Tajik,
Right?
well, that's good.
Yeah, Tajik.
Yeah.
She's Tajik, actually.
From Tajikistan.
Oh no, consider this Tajik that live in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I'm aware that some of them live north of Afghanistan. Are you from Afghanistan or the?
Yeah, I was like in the west, like yeah.
But
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a passion city though. It's not really like
No, it isn't. Majority of them are like Tajik.
I'm surprised to hear that. Okay, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. And you,
Man, I got a question for you.
yeah, go on.
Okay, after you're finished with this part of the conversation, I want you to give a tier list of all the ethnic groups in Iran.
God.
No way. She actually no.
Yeah.
We actually went to like Afghanistan 200 years ago. Because you go on the, I mean like the I think you used to like some like
Yeah.
Afghanistan. This is great. You descended from all of them. Now this is oh my god. That's just crazy.
I know.
You have no respect.
And then I
Yeah, it's cool. So in Iran,
yeah.
so how many in Iran? Basically, you got Iranian and non-Iranian ethnic groups. The Iranian you got Persians, Kurds, Lors. You got more the Persians. You got Baluchis. You're muffled. I can't really hear you. You're muffled. Balut. Yeah, you got Balut.
I can't hear either anymore. Actually.
Basically, Zero, if you want to say anything, just if you want to go,
Just
type in, because we can't really hear you. My microphone.
I'm just talking at it. Okay.
Just basically when you type it in. Pretty cool. Apparently, Haran, one of the last. This is one of the features in Afghanistan. We still kind of go like the anti. He's trying to go and fight. It's kind of funny. It's like. Yeah, I might have to go.
You have to go in half an hour.
I just don't know if my family tell me I have to go be quiet. So like, I'll be here for an hour. So we're gonna yeah.
Because you usually sleep late.
Yeah.
It's good to see you sleep.
Okay.
early.
So like when it comes to the like like the Hazaras, they actually do have like in the European because like they were kind of like in the European bloc. It wasn't just like with Hazaras, Mongols coming in, picking up Persian. I think like Tajiks do actually have Indo-Iranian blood in them. It isn't just like I think like,
Still recording, by the way.
so Tajiks, they actually live both in Tajikistan but also in northern Afghanistan. But that some of them live in Herat, like live in Herat. This price is like it's in southwest, so where in the middle. So like it's mix, I assume. It's like next few rounds. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Herat is very west, you're correct. Actually, Kabul. Cool. I think it is next to Herat was actually founded Alexander the Great conquered. Like one of his, I think it was done by him. I think so. Like one of his palaces. It's actually yeah. It's very interesting. You can actually see
I heard that as well.
Yeah.
Ordinary man.
Okay. So the Great may have founded. Be called. It used to be. I think it used to be called. It used to be one. I think it's my famous name, but also one of his palaces. He actually. It's in like pretty interesting thing. My bad. Yeah. So you speak Farsi. So like because like Tajik is basically a dialect version. So like you can understand my on the conversation. To Farsi. My computer is incredibly slow. But it's on the okay. Khoban merci azizam.
The hell is this dinosaur?
Where you walk around and kill a lot
That's
of
pretty
dinosaurs.
cool, to be honest.
Those are big, so I'm not gonna mess with them.
Cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah. I don't really speak much of it. Do you like speak like are you like
Roblox.
what's your more Farsi? Because like I like Thais. I mean they actually look very nice people. Like they actually look Asian actually. Like, yeah, are you fluent? Are you like I don't know, like medium? So I don't know, were you born like Herat? You were born what's your fluency? speak Persian either. No, you speak. Tajik, you have the rules. Boy, guys, if I switch to my phone, I'll be able to fix it, but then I won't be recording. But like,
We're ending the podcast now.
Probably best, to be honest, because I think everything's cutting out.
Yeah, true.
alright, when you finish the make sure you guys are ready.
It's okay, ordinary.
Yeah, finish it. But guys, thanks for watching. It was a good show. Yeah, it was a good discussion.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
I'll see you in the 5th episode. Maybe next reunion.
See you in the future, everyone.
See you in the future.
Like and subscribe, hit the bell notification button.
Okay, bye.